Welcome to the Advisor Summit, the podcast where financial advisors gain analytical insights and tactical strategies from the industry's top minds. The new episode is starting now.
Hi, Thomas. Welcome to the Advisor Summit podcast. I'm excited to just talk to you because I think that this is such a massive topic in this industry, and there's so many complaints around people's CRMs and systems. So today I'm really excited to dive into kind of SLANT as a whole, but also just the CRM world and the education around that. So thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. So happy to be here. It's exciting for sure. It's been cool to learn about you and Track That Advisor, and excited to tell more people about it.
Yeah, this is awesome. So kind of before we dive into the product, kind of tell us the story behind SLANT. I think that in the advisor tech landscape, there's so many differing opinions, right? And everybody has a tool for everything. And there's 94,000 tools and everybody and their mother has an opinion. But what made you kind of look at this landscape and go, this really needs to be better. It needs to be rebuilt. It needs to be different. And what were kind of the factors that led you to build SLANT?
Yeah. So early on, I've always wanted to be a founder. I've always wanted to build things. I had a lot of startups that didn't work out in college with my co-founder, Max, but we knew we liked working together. And our first product was a marketing automation tool. It was centered on video. The focus was, hey, we want advisors to make good relationships with people. And we thought video and automation was a good way to do that for people with some scale. It's a successful product. It helps a lot of people. But it was like a very small subset of advisors who it really solved the problem for. And so it was awesome because of that growth. Max and I had some time to think about well, what is the next wave? Like if we're just trying to solve the biggest possible problem for advisors, what would it be? And every day we were getting requests and questions about, can I do this? Can I do that? And we'd say, you should be able to do that in your CRM, figure that out in Redtail or Wealthbox. Like there's got to be something in there. And I think we said that so many times we almost got a little numb to it. And so what was really successful for us was finally digging in, and we're lucky we had some users who wrote us and said, hey, I'm adding a social security as a custom field. And I said, whoa, like, please don't do that. That is not what we're meant to do. But it got us thinking and put us on a journey of, if we were reimagining the CRM in the age of AI, what would it do? What would it not do? What would it be better at? What does it need to have kind of parity with? And so that began the long journey through 2025 of what should SLANT be, building it as a team, and then launching in August. But overall, we learned some simple things. Advisors, they want to spend time focused on relationships. Advisors are tired of stitching together 20 vendors to get their core job done. Like the productivity gains of each of those individually is nice, but the stack's gotten a bit unwieldy, and you have to become a Zapier and integration and tech expert. And people got into this industry to be any of those things. They did it because they love helping people retire. They love having conversations. They love building a relationship. They, feel like they have expertise in relationship and finance and almost a little bit of human psychology. And that's why they're doing it. And so we want advisors to get back to that. And it's been awesome to watch that happen and unfold.
Yeah, no, I love that because I feel like it was born out of a need, not a want. It was a desire to build something better, not just something to add to a tech stack to, be a little bit more productive. But like you said, at the end of the day, that's not the advisor role. The advisor role is to build trust and to have relationship and really like coach people into retirement and understanding the comfort of, if you invest wisely, that this is the end result, is the peace side of it. So I feel in this industry, there's so many awesome products, but it's what can we do better and more aligned and more streamlined. So that's awesome. Did your family come from the financial industry, or how did you even begin into the financial world?
No, we stumbled into this, which was a good thing. But our first product, anyone who would talk to us, we would talk to them and try to figure out how to fit a square peg into a round hole. Eventually, an advisor heard about our first product, signed up, and it really resonated. They got leads from Dave Ramsey, and it kind of solved this problem for anyone getting leads from one of those sources. And so Pageport grew really quickly with that group. But then we started running into, well, do you integrate with Redtail? Can you do X, Y, or Z with Wealthbox? And all those unfolded. And so we started building connections there. And then as we went down that path, we had a moment of saying, well, that's where most of our customers are. They're the ones we really like working with. Like, this feels like a space worth doubling down in. And that was the beginning of being focused on advisors. But no, like my parents aren't advisors. I was never an advisor.
Yeah.
I never took the Edward Jones job or any of those things. I just I love technology. I think advisors are really good at their job, and they should let technologists build the technology for them. So.
Yeah, no, I feel that. So I always laugh when people get into this space because so much of it has come from family. So when you stumble upon someone that doesn't have that background, I'm always curious how they get in there. So
yeah,
you mentioned,
and we see a lot. I mean, you've probably seen it too. Like there's all the, technology by advisor for advisor. Like they solve their own problem, and I think it'll be interesting to see as developing products gets easier. Like what are people going to build? What's going to land? What's not going to?
Yeah.
Like it's a wild time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think too, coming into this industry, you have to first understand what the advisor role is. You have to first understand, what the actual piece is, and then you can develop the problem solve there. So I love the advisor for advisor. I think we're all in this together, and I think it's a very humbling mindset to know, hey, we can all solve problems for each other. So I also love that you kind of talked about the deepening the relationship and how this CRM is different because it really is thriving and really solving the problem that it's more about relational. It's not just a CRM in general. So how did that mission kind of shape the fundamental design for SLANT from day one?
Yeah. Deepening the relationship, I think, is like the best theme to lean in on. Like our team has had the joke as we started building CRM. We're like, well, what does CRM really mean? Like is it customer relationship management, client relationship management? All these like people don't know like the true acronym. And then we're like, an advisor, we came up with, we think it means like compliance Rolodex manual. Like there's nothing automated.
True statement has never been made.
And it was all about compliance. Like it was just like, I have to do this because I have to for compliance. And there's a world where like the early dream of the CRM, was like, well, you're going to have everything tracked and you're going to be able to like better manage these relationships. Like it's all a relationship tool. And I think it quickly became like an integration hub and a technology to manage and I have to train my staff to do these 20 things after every interaction, which like was needed. But in the age of AI, when you can process language really efficiently and clean it up and put it where it needs to go, like you can be off and running pretty fast on all the data entry. But yeah, I think like we've leaned into the relationship. We think it's the right place to be. And you talked earlier about, like the job, knowing the job of the advisor. I think we've learned that. It takes a long time to learn that. And we had a big, I would almost call it a crusade last year. Like everyone in our office is late 20s, early 30s, like young in career. Like, and there was a lot of like, well, who do advisors really help? Why do we need, what do we need them? What's it for? And it was good to go on this journey with the team of like, here's who advisors really help and like what really matters. And our team focusing on like, there's a lot of people who need an advisor who might be younger, but most like it's designed for someone who's you're in your mid to late 50s or early 60s and you're like, have that big question, like, do I have enough? Am I going to be able to do this? I'm really tired or any of those things. I want to spend time with my kids or grandkids. Like learning that story for us was super meaningful because it shaped the mission of the company, which was we want to help 20 million people retire with a great advisor. And that is like super exciting. And that is like, okay, there's 20 million Americans who right now would go like buy a bad annuity or get in a bad product or have no help. And we want them to have like great advice from great people. And focusing on that's been awesome because we look at all the downstream things. How many households are we serving? What are is their AUM growing? Are they getting better reviews? Like that's exciting.
Yeah, I feel like your heart is definitely transparent in that, and that you can feel, the empathy you have towards those 20 million Americans and the want and desire to help. And I think especially with, a younger group, one, they're very tech savvy, so that's an advantage. But also, two, I think it comes from the perspective of maybe it's their parents that want to retire and they have that kind of close-knit relationship where it goes, I know who we're serving because I see it in my own family or I see it in my friends' families. There's that one-to-one connection where they can, realize what they're actually helping. So I love that. I think too, in the world of AI, it's so, I say this every time I feel, but genuine connection is the new currency. And I think it's just not, it is. I think in the, pre-phase of the social media, it was attention was the currency. It was who can get the most attention. And I think now in this era of AI, it's certainly more genuine human connection. And I think that's what SLANT really brings to the table is it's more relationship focused than it is, just pure AI. And you balance that well from what I've seen. So I think too, so traditional CRMs have really been dominant for decades. I mean, we all know them. They've been here for ages, and everybody kind of is the default for that CRM. Neither here nor bad. What are kind of the biggest flaws that advisors experience with kind of those legacy CRMs? Again, they provided a really great thing for a very long time, and they provided what was needed in that moment. But now with just technology advancing so much and so quickly, what's kind of the downfalls that we're seeing in that, and the flaws that aren't really happening in the modern day-to-day?
Yeah, great question. And when I zoom out, there's a couple things that I think they made a choice that was right at a time, but it's not right anymore. Like an interesting one that we ran into as we had our beta users early on was like the default object in a CRM is a person, an individual. So it's like Molly Pierce, you're your own thing in there. They can find you, they can add your address, all of that. Mm-hmm. The Pierce household was like a side project. It was that was not the main thing, but the way that advisors do their job, the Pierce household is everything. Do they meet with you as a family?
Yeah.
Do they know the family's goals? Do they know what you're working on together? And even if someone is an individual in that sense, a widow or a single person, like if that household matters and all the assets inside it and everything, we made a really deliberate decision to focus on the household. So households get added to projects. When you search a person, it goes to the household page. When you change an address, we had a lot of people who were like, I have like 5 addresses for this couple because I added it to the spouse and it's not on the other person, and now I don't know which place, and I'm sending forms to 4 addresses. So focusing on the household, we think was like the right decision for how advisors do their job in a relationship, and technologically on how to connect to things like a custodian. Beyond that, I think you look at the evolution, like Redtail was first, and in the end, they spin up like your whole own beautiful database for you. Like that was, at that time, they didn't charge per seat because their big cost was buying you a server. And so when we export a Redtail database, it's like, okay, like we have to spin up a server and send all the data to one spot. Like it's not like the traditional cloud. And then Wealthbox came and I think said, hey, it should be more beautiful. It should be easier to use. It should be a little bit simpler. But it took a lot of the core same architectural decisions Redtail did. And I think that's why people are like, it's pretty easy to migrate. They know how the data moves over. And we had to make a hard choice saying, like, if we want to do it what we think the right or the modern or the better way is, we're going to have to, it's going to be hard to import. It's going to be hard to move things over. That's a hard problem to solve. But that's been really worth doing. And then I just lastly say, a legacy system, AI will be bolted on. It will not be like native to the tool. You can't ruin the software for your tens of thousands of customers by changing how it really works. Like it's important. If the SEC comes knocking and you use your CRM, it's got to be ready. And so they can't just change how it works.
Yeah.
But building now, the big advantage of saying, okay, you should be able to chat with anything, and we should be able to query the entire database of information. You should be able to ask a good question, and maybe building a dashboard shouldn't be a super hard task you need to pay a third-party consultant for, and all these things they should be easier. This is an era of better software and easier to use, and so there's a journey there. Our users have bugs and they deal with growth, and we might make a wrong choice every once in a while, but there's a trajectory there of it's changing rapidly and should be changing for the better.
Yeah, and the more right choices is all you need, right? There's going to be human flaws that happen, but as long as you equate positively in the more right choices category than the negative choices, it all works out. No, I like too how you talked about the AI piece, because I do think it gets added on to a ton of things. And I've even seen it just personally. It's like, oh, now we do AI, and it kind of feels like this flippant last resort that they just kind of tack on. And when we look at SLANT also, it's very the AI first CRM term that gets kind of thrown around a lot. But what does that actually mean for an advisor day to day? How has it been built in there substantially, and how is that going to change moving forward?
Yeah, great question. AI first is probably a more techie phrase than advisor, but I think it's good to learn. Like AI first or AI native just means, one, it's built with it from the ground up. So like you should not do this because it's not safe, but you could go download all the activity on a household record, throw it into ChatGPT. You're giving all that PII out to the world. Like you need to strip that out, and you could try to ask it for answers. Like there's like a way to muscle that action. AI native, that should happen inside the tool. Rely on the technology company's job of saying, we're going to strip out PII. There's never going to be a bank account number sent or a social number. We're going to like clean up email. Like you shouldn't have to do all this extra work to get the benefits of AI. It should be inside where you're doing your job. So like chatting with a household, with a meeting, with like your whole book of business, very AI native and AI only. Other ones are like the note takers had a super fast growth the past 2 years for advisors. That's an add-on. It's separate. It does one thing incredibly well. They're really good businesses. AI native, okay, that's like, let's call that a feature, put it inside our broader product and give it to advisors, let them be able to do these things. So I think AI native is really about, one, what's the basis of how it was built? So can that team build really quickly? Can they put AI native features? Like we want to add, like we have the bones built to select the model you're using. Like let's say you're a big Elon fan and you want to use Grok, like I should let you be able to pick that. Or, okay, like I have heard like Claude's really good at this. Let me pick a model from them or use ChatGPT. So, but AI native is all about, it's built with there from the ground up. We're thinking about the problems AI can solve instead of saying, there's a lot of tools out there right now saying, great, don't change anything you're doing. We're going to build you a super data warehouse and plug in 900 different sources, and now you can use AI on top of that. Like that's not AI native. That's like that's a data lake, and then trying to get AI to read all of it. And so it's like a harder switch. When people think about like, oh, like how, like that takes no work. I can just buy that tool and it'll all magically happen. Like, well, you'll uncover the pain later. There's something about, hey, the tool I really do the job in needs to have the capabilities, not someone else.
Not just tacked on. No, and I love that saying, like, you'll feel it later. You know what I mean? I think I read something recently that said the consequence of neglect now is much worse than the discipline of what you're doing today. So it's like, if you just want to neglect that and think it's going to happen later, that's amazing, but you're going to pay for it at some point. So I'd rather pay now and be disciplined and maybe slower to move, which is not my nature. But, if you have it native, that's a lot easier in the long run. So. Yeah.
And I think that's a great, like in life too, like there's a phrase from, in athletics of, there's the pain, like you can have the pain of the moment or the pain of regret. Like,
ooh, I love that.
There's some pain like in doing a really tough workout or doing something really hard or being great at a job, like whatever those things are. Like there's pain of that moment. It's not fun. But what hurts more is like 3 months later not achieving what you wanted to or losing the game or whatever it is. So I think
or years later, even like looking back, maybe it's not 3 months, maybe it's 10 years and you go, gosh, I like literally wasted my 30s. And maybe that's because it's the season that we're in, right? Like building businesses, raising families, there's just so much to be regretful about. So like, let's bite it all and figure out how to chew is my philosophy.
Every day I'm like, boy, I failed at something today.
That's, you just live with that and you go, but I did my best and I worked hard. And I think that there's reward in that and working hard. So it'll be cool. So back to kind of what the AI does. Can you walk us through some of the main things that you feel like is important for a CRM? Is it the meeting prep that the AI really helps with? Is it the note taking that's really important, or follow-ups, nudges? What's kind of the most important piece of AI as people are looking at CRMs and they should look for these XYZ things for the long run?
Yeah, I think like your core CRM jobs get pretty clear. You need good tasks, good notes, a safe way to store all the data. You want to connect data sources to it. Like the core CRM job, I think people know well. They know what they want their existing Redtail or Wealthbox or SLANT to do.
Yeah.
The AI side is really interesting because I think first, if you ever run into an AI solution, it's worth thinking, does that deserve, or should it live in my CRM, or should it live somewhere else? Like maybe an example of this would be people are making a lot of tools to like have AI make creative advertising for you. Like, that's a pretty cool thing. I don't know if it needs to be in the CRM. It's not core to
No.
the relationship with clients. It's not like, it's interesting. It's cool. It's probably better served elsewhere. But something like, if what you ask that AI vendor is, do you integrate with my CRM? It's worth thinking, should it just belong in my CRM? Like, that's the number one question I think when people say, like, let's say there's a project management tool with some AI features, and it's like, oh my gosh, does this integrate with my CRM? Like, well, actually, you probably should be doing more project management with AI inside your CRM, or like a note taker. Okay, like, I really want these notes. If the main job is getting it to the CRM, okay, it probably belongs in the CRM. So I think about things like that. Oh, here's a list of people you should work with. Okay, if the main job is pushing that to CRM every time, maybe it belongs there. So I would think that's a good way to think about it. For us, the jobs we've seen that really matter is meeting preparation, note taking, and then great follow-up across any means. Like, we have a notion of things called nudges in our product that say, if it's someone's birthday, you should probably write them something.
Yeah.
One, like, it's more of a workflow to know that it's someone's birthday. We didn't need AI to do that. But to write a great email that looks at all the conversation they sent you and looks at, like, we had an advisor who someone had texted them about bringing bread to the office, like fresh bread a client made, and then their birthday message. The advisor told us, I wouldn't have known it was their birthday, so props to automation. And then the message was like, thanks so much for bringing that bread. It was like a highlight for the team. And he's like, I forgot about the bread, but it was awesome. Like, and then that client responds like, thanks so much. I'm glad you cared. Like, that relationship's way deeper. Like, that's an awesome use of AI. And so we think chatting with households is a really big one. Like, the default behavior right now, if you're prepping for a meeting or you just have a question or you're an admin or an owner and you want to know about a household, you have a lot of relationships, you have to go to the activity feed and scroll through a mountain of stuff and look to understand. And you hope there's not a million like canned emails or weird automations filling the activity feed. And instead, you should go in there and say, I've got a meeting in 10 minutes. What's everything I need to know? Boom. Like, that's going to filter through the noise, give you a good summary, ask follow-up questions. Okay, it says their kids are starting college. Do we know the college? Okay, great. Like, you're that much better prepared. And then we think you can include those summaries throughout in the SLANT experience. Like, go to a household record, there's a summary automatically. Go to a meeting, here's the quick summary, here's the longer notes. But I think the best logic is, what's something I really want to do in the CRM? Can AI do it? And then if I'm ever looking at an alternative vendor, if I'm really asking, does it integrate? Does it integrate? Does it integrate? Okay, then maybe it belongs in here.
Yeah, I love that. Does it integrate or does it belong? Also, I mean, honestly, so I just did my first sourdough bread. So if someone were to email me about making a loaf of bread, that is like so key. So thank you for using that example because I'm very proud of my first loaf and
it's a big deal.
Great.
Like, making bread is a real act of love. Like, it is.
Thank you for affirming me in that. So it was really fun, but it turned out halfway decent. It's fine. But also I think too, I think that just speaks to the core motto of the business that we're in is relational. It has to be about what you're doing. And even if it's a quick 10 minutes before, remembering what mattered to that client is huge and is so impactful and is only going to make the advisor serve them better in the long run. So to have that quick ability, and I've even seen it was amazing. Just, hey, this person likes Diet Coke, likes to golf, and likes this. You know what I mean? And has that more personal touch versus, oh, they're retiring. This is their AOM that they're bringing over. You know, they didn't DocuSign the 14 DocuSigns that we sent, so they need to go sign it. You know, whatever the case is, I feel like it's so much more relational. And I think that's huge. It's huge. So I know too, though, that like SLANT goes beyond, relationship. It also provides pipelines, projects, all the necessary things that you also very much need. Advisors are also utilizing these tools, like you said. Some of them belong inside there. Some of them maybe should be outside, but potentially integrate. Are you like open to feedback at this stage of the CRM? Are you constantly adding things, or do you feel like we're trying to keep this very simple for a purpose? Like, how do you navigate that balance of we're trying to keep it simplistic, we're trying not to add everything in its mother, but we also see there's a need for X number of advisors to have this, so now we put it in. How do you navigate that? Because you don't want 45 reiterations.
Yeah, if we said yes to everything, it would not be a good tool to use. But there are things that we get wrong, and then we hear and we're like, oh, like, got it. People really do want custom pipelines or whatever those small things are. I think our team tries to do a really good job of what's a bug, like what's something we expect to happen that's not working. We need to fix that right away. Like a pure, I click this button and it doesn't work.
Sure.
Okay, that needs to get, that's just a
obviously,
bug.
yeah.
But on request, it's often we have to weigh, okay, does that make it better for one person or for near every advisor, like almost every advisor in the tool? That's a big question we're asking. And then there's a question of impact. Like, there might be like one user has a ton of pain around a very particular part of the problem because the way they do, let's say their annual reviews is just really different. It's our job to assess, like, is that a better way to do reviews? If so, like, let's productize it. Let's make it great. Let's teach the community how to do this. Or if it's like, hey, that's your way to do it. Like, let me try to give you some powerful workarounds or edge cases or ways to get this job done slightly. Like, we want to help them. But overall, we're shipping a lot of product right now. So while we're trying to be simple and focus on a core job, there's no shortage of things getting pushed. And I think there's just a lot. I personally love. It's fun to see our app and see all the things it could be much, much better at.
Yeah.
That to me isn't like scary or painful. It means we're doing it wrong. It means like we have good people solving big problems, and CRM is a very broad product space. Like you could go any direction and be pretty justified on building something. And so our job, I think, is to assess like, well, what really matters next? Like recently we added annual review tracking and last touch point tracking. Like people have spreadsheets all across the galaxy of just like, when's the last time I talked to somebody? Somehow that's not an easy thing to surface in the CRM. SLANT, it's awesome. You go to the last touch point. It'll just have a date on everything. Like you send a note, you sent an email, you gave them a call, you did this task. Like, okay, who has it been over 3 months? Let me put a list of those people up. Let me do something like that. Those are the things that's a pretty simple thing that no one has done that's super high impact. And if we were just focusing on like, oh, I can do this really edge case workflow trigger, like we're not going to build the really impactful stuff.
Yeah. No, and like I said, it's the right team members. I think having a good team to build the right tools is huge. And you guys have a great team, and it's not scary. I think you should celebrate the wins that you've already done and already passed. But like you said, the big vast majority of what's coming in the future isn't known. So it's hard to say, oh, this is the perfect CRM. It's going to forever be the perfect CRM, because at some point it's going to be archaic. And if you're not continually adding or continually changing, you're going to fall behind. And that's where I feel like maybe some of the older CRMs really didn't change, and they just thought they had it in the bucket. And it's like, gosh, if you don't keep going, you're going to be left behind. So it's hard. Change is hard. So I kind of on that topic, change in general. I know a lot of times teams will come to advisors, and especially after events, they're like, oh man, I want to implement these 94 things I saw at an event. I want to do all of these new things. And I think teams really are anchored in familiarity with tools. They like the tools because they know how it works. Even if it's not ideal and even if it's clunky, they just like it because they know it. And I'm the same way. I'm like, please do not make me change anything until they make me, and then I love it. So what kind of advice do you give firms that want to maybe adopt a different CRM in general, and how do you successfully kind of teach them that it's okay to change? Because I think that's a narrative that's not talked about enough.
Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about it, because we see it often. Sometimes we have the owner who's like, we're doing this thing, and so the staff is like, please no. and then it ends up being a good thing. And then sometimes you have the admin who wants a much better process, and owners either like, hey, sounds great, you're doing the heavy lifting, I'm in, or it's a very like, why, what we have is fine, like a little bit defensive is a very like, there's I think a lot of ways it can go. Overall, I think the best thing when switching is like, first just evaluate what are your really clear pains and what do you wish you could be better at.
Okay.
Like if it's like, I use it every day, it's fine, whatever, like, okay, like, then let's say that's your tool and SLANT comes up, like, we've got to be like 10 times better to be worth switching. Like, you're not like you're not ripping your hair out every day using the thing, then it's harder to switch. If you have the things that are acute, like articulate those to whoever you're migrating to. And then overall, like, when anyone's doing diligence on these things, like understand how they are treating your data securely, really get a sense of what's the migration going to look like? How long is it going to take? Is this on me and my team as the advisor, or is it on the tech vendor's side? Like, there's a lot of tools that will take your money and kind of walk away. We try to be the very opposite of that. You want to be, I think it's a relationship business, advisors, and that counts to the technology vendors with the advisors too.
Yes.
Are we gonna do the support? Are we gonna, his name's Jason Lemkin. He's a kind of thought leader for SaaS companies, but he always posts like, I'm happy to move. If you move my data, make the contract friendly, do the heavy lifting, like then a lot of people are willing to make hard switches. Like it's the job of the vendor to have a great sales process, a great onboarding, a great support, like treat the customer right, have good people who they want to spend time with.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain tools we've used. I'm like, I never want to talk to that vendor again. And then I don't, And there's the tools like, oh, this is like great. And they take my feedback and they listen and they care. Like there's so much just relationship even on your tech stack that I think is worth auditing.
Yeah. I feel like people miss that a lot because I feel like that's certainly something that Track That Advisor we hone in on. And I will say it's crazy, but a lot of our clients honestly feel like friends in so many ways. And it's a beautiful thing. But I think so many people just look at tech stack and they're like, okay, what can it do for me? And is it a viable product? And does it save me time and effort and energy? And you want people on your team. I think instead of looking at tech stacks as just tech, it's more of teammates that are in your arsenal and are willing to help you and on your team. And yes, we're not in your office, but we kind of are in a lot of ways because your team's contacting support or we want to be on your side. We want to be on your, put us in, coach, So I think
are they willing to go to the office? Like, is this like, that's like, I tell our team, like get on a plane somewhere and go help somebody. Like that's like, it matters, And so I think I think CRM is really fun for our team too, because it is a real partnership.
Yes.
It's like people don't want to switch their CRM every 2 years. Like you want to pick one and run it for a long, long, long time.
It's a marriage. You don't want to date your CRM. You want to marry it.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like that. If we're good, let's partner. And then like we're here for the long haul to make it better, work with you, to like celebrate your wins, to like the whole thing. So it's fun for us to be. It's a lot more of like an advisor relationship. Like we've got to be on top of all the things that advisors care about, and we're the data fiduciary for them. Like it's their data.
Yeah, I like that.
We win when they win. Like all those things. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that is cool. And I feel like it's never been spoken about that way. The narrative has always been the CRM is your tech. It's nothing else. It's nothing more than that. And I feel like you're really changing that story and changing it to say, no, like you use your CRM every single day. I have yet to meet an office that does not use your CRM every single day. Yeah. And if you don't and are listening to this, we should talk on the coaching platform. But, there's so much that it can do, and it should be more relational. So I love that you guys are switching the story. Overall, I feel like you guys have made a great product, and I really, when I demoed it, I think the one word that came to me, and this is absolutely a compliment, but it's simple. It's straightforward. It's for people to actually understand and utilize it properly. And it has these amazing capabilities with AI and these amazing things to help with workflows and, households and all of that. If you could say anything about SLANT and the technology, like what is one way that it sets apart the most? I mean, I think it's simple, which I think everybody craves in a world of craziness, but what's one thing that you really want to be known for in the CRM world?
Yeah, I think that notion of partnership is a big one. Like we're really partnered with the group. And then, I would just say, like you use the word simple, and I think I would use the word like well-built software. Like the default software an advisor needs to use is hard. Like they're not very pretty. And I think there's a new wave. Like people love Altruist. It's a lot simpler for the advisor to use. They love Current Client, which is a much like cleaner interface to text compared to my rep chat. Like I think there are really good builders now, and there's enough interest in wealth tech where good software is going to be coming. But I hate bad software. Like it's not worth using. It makes me mad. Like I want advisors to feel what good software feels like. And I think we're gonna try to always have that balancing act between simplicity and ease of use and power. Like we never want
Love
complex,
it.
we just want powerful. And so can we make the common things really easy and the difficult things to do possible? That spectrum is where we want to live. But I'd say if people use it every day, they learn how to use it, like usable, clean, beautiful software. Like it's a craft, you can make it a beautiful thing. Like everyone's held like a really nice wallet or purse, or you go to a farmer's market, that's like the homegrown produce. Like that's a craft. It's an art. Like people make cool things. Like we're not here to just, I don't know, maximize ROI and think only about the numbers. Like we want to build like a beautiful thing that people write about and care about and tell their friends about. And that's like the side effect of building good stuff.
Yeah, no, I love that. I feel like there's a lot of heart that goes into it, which is huge. So if advisors want to learn more about SLANT or even Pageport, which we'll touch on a different day, but where can they book a demo or connect with you?
Yeah, the easiest is just slant.app. Go to the website. You can like ask a question in a chat on the bottom. You can book time. Like it's should be pretty straightforward to get help there. And then my inbox is open for all the good, bad, and the ugly feedback. So people can email me, Thomas at slant.app. I love hearing from our users and from people. So
yeah, that's awesome. Your heart's definitely there. So last question we kind of always end with is, where are you trekking today? Whether it's personally or professionally, any big goals? I mean, I know you're a dad of a few little girls, so maybe it's just surviving the glitter bombs. But
I got three little girls at home. So I want to be a great dad is like my most important job. But, we want to help 20 million Americans retire here. That's a big trek. We got a long way to go. And then personally, my wife and I are going to hike the Grand Canyon at the end of the year. So we got to be
awesome. Okay.
We're going to go rim to rim. So, I mean, that's a very direct trekking example. But
thank you for sticking on theme.
My big trek is like that balancing act between company building, fatherhood, faith. Like that's a hard thing. I'd love for people to think, oh, he was good at those three things. That's what I want to be. That's my track.
I think those are three noble things, and I think God equips those that are focused on that. I think that there's some joy in all of that, and there's joy in trying to balance it all. Yeah. So I'm rooting for you guys. So also Grand Canyon, you're in our neck of the woods. So good luck. Rim to Rim's beautiful.
I can't wait. Rim to Rim's going to be so fun. There's a lot of mountains here in Utah that I can practice on. So then I'll be ready.
Yeah. Get your lungs up there. But Thomas, thank you so much for joining us. I think this was so insightful just from CRMs. I love that. I mean, the concept of powerful, not complex is huge, and just that you're changing the narrative of what the CRM does. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Molly. This was awesome.